How old were you at the time?
20, 21, 22.
Mm.
Young.
So how's the dad life then?
It was hard. Especially with my first one. Boy, that boy, I tell you all the time.
Junior.
Oh, boy. Yeah, and I don't, I don't try to hype it up or anything. I just know that he is him. I mean, he's one of, he pushed me to my limit. He pushed me to my limit. You know what I'm saying? Like, boy, like, seriously, you into everything. You do this, you do that, But, it was hard work.
Mm.
I was trying to adjust to it, the whole changing diapers, the whole making sure he eats, bathing, all that stuff. Hard work.
Oh yeah, it is hard work.
It is.
Especially your first one. I know that. The
Hard
first
work.
one is getting used to everything, waking up, feeding. I mean, which, man, I didn't mind it. With Phoenix, of course, I didn't mind it at all. It's like, oh, okay, well, let's get to it,
You ever hear stories like, saying some guys say, yeah, she does all that stuff? Do you get jealous over stuff like that?
You know what, man? No.
You don't?
No, because I felt like me doing that, I built a bond with my kids. So whenever I hear like, oh, she does everything, I'm like, I'm glad I wasn't like that. Because, I don't know, just to see them grow, and I don't know, it's just, you can just see it in their eyes, like, man, like, we're building something here.
Right.
And I think that's why, and I'm not saying that Phoenix or Skyra always want to be around me, but it's just, I don't know, it's like, man.
You take it to a whole new level.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Like, so no, when people say, like, oh, no, I don't ever do anything, like, she does everything, I'm like, man, you're missing out, bro. Like, that's, no.
Well, in the beginning, I used to be jealous of stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But then I realized, like you said, I had to grow into that. There's a bond that you make with them.
Mm-hmm.
So when, when they get older and stuff like that, can't nobody take that away from you.
No.
Nobody can take that away from you.
Nope.
Not even them. Like, even when they, with teenagers, when they try to, like, get away from you and stuff like that, like, I used to change your diapers. Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. So, no, man, I enjoy every bit of it. Even now, like, I enjoy it, man. I can't, I don't know. It's just, there's just something there,
It is. It is. It's a memory and that you value.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody really, like I said, nobody can take that away from you. It's worth more than gold and silver. I'm like, man.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, you have to. It's like, man, I need to take my time and just let me look at you like that, because you're growing too fast. Like, every day you're growing, and every day you're doing something different. And for me to notice that you're doing something different, like, that's, I hold on to that, like, oh man, he's doing this now, or when you're with Skyra, like, oh, she's doing this now. So I don't know, it's just, man, time goes by so fast. So I have to, like I want to be around, and I want to see them grow. Like, I mean, I'll take him a bath, I don't care, I'll change him. Did he poop? It's whatever, that none of that bothers me at all, so it's just like you said, it's something that I value. Like, I don't know, I love it.
I think I don't think, I know I'm grateful to God for, for giving me that opportunity, because, what I did with one, I did with, all of them,
Mm-hmm.
being able to be there for childbirth and
Oh yeah.
being able to, be in their lives and stuff like that. No matter what we've been through, um, being able to just, put a part of me in them and, help them grow and mature, at a faster rate, but where, they're not making the same mistakes that, I made.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know, giving them that security of understanding that I'm not going nowhere. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So
And your second one was a girl,
second,
Layla. So how was that to go from having a boy? Now you got your little princess. What was that like?
well, when we had Junior, I felt like
Did you want a boy at first? Was that, or did it even matter? Like
I
if
wanted a boy at
you
first.
wanted a boy at first?
Yeah, I wanted a boy at first. Made me feel like a stud, what I'm saying? You get all like, yeah, I got me a boy.
Yeah.
But I was more like, I wasn't, I was protective, but not to the extreme.
Mm.
I was more like, I'm watching you type deal. But when Layla came into the picture, it was like a whole different feeling. Like, I got a little girl. You know, what I'm saying? You get these thoughts like, I got a baby girl now. You know what I'm saying? I gotta protect her. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be this. I gotta be that. And that's how it was. Like, even when she was growing up, if her brothers would pick on her or hit her or something like that. Oh man, you talking about my level of being angry? It was like, y'all better watch it. Like for real. Like with her, I was just like, I'm gonna whoop somebody. I'm gonna whoop somebody
Yeah.
bad.
Did you let her put makeup on you?
Would I let her?
Did you?
Um,
While she was growing, did you ever let her put makeup on you? Did you ever play dress up or have a little tea party?
We never got, and that's one of the things too right there. We never had that experience we had some type of experiences, but like because of the situation that me and my wife at the time were going through, the divorce and everything, and me being kicked out from the household and stuff like that. That time period of being away from him, I think that affected him because that was in that time period too.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So, but yes, when we had our times, there was times, uh, I'd basically just kind of just see what she was doing. If she was playing with dolls, I'll be right there, just paying attention and seeing what's up. But yeah, I interacted with her a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that she had her toys and stuff like that when she was growing up and all that kind of deal.
Yeah. So what happened between you and your wife? Why divorce? Was the relationship not working out, or?
Man, when we moved to Hobbs, it was like up and down. It was up and down. There was so many times that we argued, so many times we make up, so many times that it was just so confusing that it was time for me to go back home to Georgia. I think I went a total of maybe 3 or 4 times because it would start off good, and then it just built up into something that got out of control, and I was just like, man, I gotta get out of here. This ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, we just be on the phone, and I'll come back and try it again, see if it works and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
It was kind of it's a rocky relationship, there was really no structure, no foundation. Really, there was no type of understanding. It was my way of thinking and her way of thinking, which um, was getting us nowhere. And I think in 2007, I finally put my foot down, and I actually started, praying, which was weird to me because I really never really prayed. I really never asked for help, kind of. And there was a situation. I was in Georgia, and there was a lot of stuff that was going on over here, and I was being told about it with the conversations that we'd have at night, and it had an effect on me mentally. Like, man, for real. Like, I'm over here, they're over there, and chaos is over here. Like, man, for real. So, um, I was doing all kinds of crazy over there. Didn't really care. Um,
How old were the kids?
the kids were
Because this was what, after Layla, I guess?
after Drew.
Oh, after Drew.
Yeah. Um, Drew was barely a year. Layla was 2, and Emilio was 3.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, not being able to have a job, get a job, and stuff like that because I didn't have a driver's license. I had so many things pending out of Georgia that, hindered my ability to grab a driver's license or do things over here or try to provide for my family. And me being scared of actually confronting those things, saying, and delaying those things. Led to all this chaos, kind of. So I understand the responsibility that that I had to take, and the chaos that I created. Um, it was one of those deals, like I was saying, that when I was in Dalton, being vulnerable and asking, praying, and in that moment, I felt, I felt the Holy Spirit put, put a garment over me and shield me. And I felt like everything around me illuminated. And for some apparent reason, I got up, and my whole world, just my mentality, my way of thinking started just flipping on me. Like, it's like I got this surge running through me, and finally came back over here. Um, and then that's when a lot of things started adding up for me, like financially.
Mm.
So, but yeah, a lot of chaos, a lot of chaos.
So when you came back, did y'all work it out, I guess?
We worked it out for a while. She had gotten pregnant again. Carlos was in the picture now. Um, at the time, I wasn't thinking about building a relationship with her.
Mm.
I was just more focused on my children.
Yeah.
I was just like, forget this, kids. Gonna get this money. Gonna provide for my kids. I don't know if me and you gonna work out, kind of deal, but I gave it a shot. You know what I'm saying? Because Carlos was coming into the picture and stuff, so I gave it an opportunity to see what it was. Um, Before I had left, we had taken a wrong path with indulging in drugs and stuff like that.
Mm.
I think that I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that I made or allowed to happen. Um,
Just opening that door.
Yeah, just opening that door. I mean, her family was involved in drugs, so it's kind of like she being around family. Um, and me trying to basically, I guess, work with her or try to make her happy. You know what I'm saying? I allowed that to happen, and next thing you know, it's kind of like the, you know,
Mm.
went downhill from there.
No.
So that was the whole reason when I came back. That I wasn't dealing with that no more. I was more focused on just the kids and and Carlos coming into the picture, um, and just try to fix that whole situation in Georgia. Try to figure out some way to fix that. But um, I think that I gave it my best, or try to give it my best, and give it a good understanding. Um, I gave her an ultimatum too. Um, I told her that, you know what I'm saying, because when Carlos was born, and I felt it in my spirit, like I just said, we got to make a decision today.
Mm.
We for the kids, or we about ourselves. Um, and I basically told him that, and if you're not for this for the kids, please pack up your bags and just bounce. Leave me, let me raise my children. Um, and I had to learn how to stand by that because I spoke it out. I had to learn how to stand by that and be firm about that and mean what I say. And I did to this day, you know what I'm saying? I think that was one of the greatest decisions or one of the greatest things that I did to, reestablish myself,
Mm.
regain who I was, gain the power that was given to me. Um, I try to explain to a lot of people that, we have power, and when we fall into temptation, we fall and make mistakes, we give our power to other people, and what I'm saying, they they empower themselves over us in
Mm.
some form. Um, it's just depending on what situation or what happened that you allow other people to empower themselves over you. But when you try to do things, what I'm saying, in a way where you don't give up your power, then it teaches you along the way how to keep that power, and how to structure yourself, how to be obedient, how to understand certain things.
Mm.
Um, I think that's a great lesson that I've learned over the years. Type of deal. Like, don't put yourself in a situation where you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Be smart about it, think about it, and just go. Try to handle it. See what happens.
Mm. Man.
But yeah.
So how long did you stay in Hobbs then after that? Because I'm guessing she left, right?
She had left for I think 6 months after Carlos was born. She left. She was out of the house, in and out of the house for about a year and a half.
Mm.
Type of deal. Um, I continued doing what I was doing, and I was working and coming home. You know, at the time, her mom was very helpful. I'm thankful to that. Helping me out and stuff like that. And um, I stayed in Hobbs until 2014. Um, the year, the year that 2008, um we was going through our divorce. Basically, we was starting the process of it. I had hired an attorney and everything. Um, I felt like that me and her were basically over. Like there was no fixing it because the simple fact that you can't have one trying and the other one not trying. Now, like for instance, I go to I go to these marriage care classes, or I go to these EXO conferences, you know, and in the beginning, some people ask me, why are you going to that? I'm preparing myself.
Mm.
And I think, God's placed that on my heart, and He's taught that, and when you prepare yourself for something, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to worry about when it does come. It's you being willing and ready for whatever comes your way.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's, when I go to these classes, I look back at my previous marriage, and I say, man, wow, like there was a whole bunch of stuff that I, even on my behalf, like, wow, like we weren't doing it, the way it was intended to be. We just did it our own way. We did it on the fly. We was over here claiming that, we're married or we're mother or we're fathers or stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I see stuff like that nowadays when people say, oh yeah, I'm a daddy. Okay, cool. What are you a daddy of? Because there's a different type of level. Kind of like, that that memory, that interaction.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How are you taking this type of deal?
Gotcha. Man, so when did you? So you moved here, I guess.
Yeah.
Moved here with your kids, and then when did you start going to Transformation Church?
I have been going to Transformation Church, I want to say, late 2011, maybe early 2012. Started going there because a friend invited me to go there. And it was kind of like one of those deals, like, do you go to church? Do you do this and that? And I'm like, yeah, I'll go to church. But in my heart at the time, I was kind of like, I still had that thing where, that Catholic thing, you know what I'm saying? Is this going to be that same thing? And I have been to churches in Hobbs, but, some of the things that they preached on and stuff like that, it kind of felt the same way, like being in a Catholic church. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't ever catch that vibe, you know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, I'm good, you know what I'm saying? I had that mentality too where like a lot of young people say, I don't need to go to church or I don't need to pay my tithes and offerings. That corrupted mentality. I had that before. And when I started going to this church, I felt different. It was like, my pastor, he spoke to me, the things that he was saying, it made me feel like, okay, cool. Like it caught my ear. Like I was like, oh, okay, you're saying something. And I was like thinking to myself, yeah, that white boy up there, he's saying something right now. He's saying something. Okay, cool. I got you. Okay. Check you out next Sunday. See what you got. Type of deal. So I looked at it like that.
Yeah.
I think when I really, really started, like, really investing myself, I think it was around when my father was dying. So it was crazy. I mean, it was one of those deals where, I'm like thinking to myself, my dad's dying. My dad's going through a rough period. He was locked up, and basically he's on his deathbed while being locked up. But our relationship with me and him had evolved since he came back into the picture in 2008. When he came back into the picture, basically me and him, we had squashed a lot of things. We had sat down and we talked about certain things that needed to be spoken. I had a deep conversation with him in the hotel room, and he he broke down and he tells me, I want to apologize to you. And the minute that, you know what I'm saying, I start hearing him say this, I'm like, whoa, tell me. Like, I had to stop him. I was like, you know what? You don't have to apologize. I want to apologize to you. I want you to know that whatever went down, however y'all handled it, I have to understand that y'all handled it to y'all's best of knowledge.
Mm.
I told him there that that I respect him for what he did for me. I told him that I loved him no matter what. I told him that that there was years that I wish he would have been there for me to help me. But I told him that no matter what, you know what I'm saying, I grew out of it. I grew out of that thinking. I told him that, you know, I value what he taught me, what he meant to me. Our relationship from there, you know, basically started back up where it left off at. We kicked it the whole night. We drank, you know. That was one of those weird things, like, oh, I'm drinking with my dad. Like, you know, like first time, like, wow, I haven't seen you in a long time. Now we're drinking together. But we just, you know, just kick back, you know what I'm saying? When we left, or when he went back home and I came back this way, we kept in touch a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, we would be on the phone, you know, every once in a while. We'd conversate about a lot of things, about family and understanding and stuff like that. And, you know, he would ask me for my advice type deal. I explained it to him, how I seen things. And there was talks of him moving down here with me. And I told him, you know, if you ever decide that you want to move down here, let me know. I'll help you out. We'll do what we can, and, you know what I'm saying, we'll make this happen. Yeah. You know, there was talks like that. I just don't know, you know, what he was really dealing with where in Florida. I don't know his status of who he was interacting with and what was being done down there. So it was kind of like, you know, a period of time I would hear from him, and then I'll find out where he was at, and I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. What can I do? You know what I'm saying? Do I need to do something type of deal? So, but yeah.
So I'm guessing you said he passed away?
Yeah, he passed away in the middle of 2013. It was a hard time. It was a time of dealing with a lot of things, family, brothers and sisters, dealing with what I was dealing with over here, going through custody battles to regain the children and stuff like that. Dealing with relationship problems too at the time. So it was one of those deals, like, you know, I had a lot on my plate at that time. And when I caught a wind about my dad's situation, it was just too much. Like, man, for real, I couldn't deal with it, like really deal with it. At the time I was going to church, Pastor Todd was preaching, months before he was preaching about, you know, if you dedicate yourself and to the church for a year, he was preaching stuff like that. But mainly he was preaching on prayer. He was preaching about, your relationship with Jesus, how prayer can bring you more and more with Him. Having that communication with Him just whenever. And it was just having to deal with being, not having the finances to go down there to see my dad, dealing with the people that are down there, what they're seeing, and just taking, painting a picture in my mind of what's going on and how they're handling it. That was one thing. And with my situation over here, with I'm, trying to get divorced. I'm trying to gain custody. I'm basically flat broke. You know what I'm saying? I done gave what I saved up to just try to get myself back into court and stuff like that, and then having to deal with, wanting to go down there, but I can't financially. It took a toll on me. So I was in a vulnerable situation, and I just did what my pastor said and just pray. I came to terms with, saying, just praying to the Lord and asking Him and saying if it's His time, it's His time, and I just pray that, that He's saved. That was one of my biggest things is He saved? Does he know Jesus? Did he learn anything while he was down here? Did he ask for repentance? That type of deal. That's those things.
Yeah.
And I prayed for a week, going through that, and when that whole situation came about, that he had passed away, I was at peace because God gave me peace.
Yeah.
He's like, in a situation like that, sometimes things like that happen in order to, for a bigger cause, what I'm saying, to bring somebody closer to God or bring certain people closer to God. I mean, it's just, that's the nature of it. That's how this works, what I'm saying? So.
So during all this too, well, I mean, as you can tell, you got full custody of your kids. How was the relationship with your ex?
My ex passed away in 2010. She made some choices, living the life. That situation right there, in itself is weird, but it's a learning lesson. It teaches you to, be cautious of who you hang around with. Be cautious of the people you interact with. Some people might have the right intentions. Some people might not have the right intentions. I know at the time when she passed away, Junior was probably, I think 5, 6, somewhere in there. 5, 6. Layla 5, 5, 4. Drew was probably 4 or 3, something in there. And then Carlos, just a year old. That whole process, brought a lot of emotion to me too. Brought a lot of hate out of me. Because I was looking at it from I wouldn't say all views. I was just looking at it from my own selfish views. Like, man, why'd you do this? Or, man, what happened? All those questions pop up. Like, man, for real? For real? look what you did to the children now. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. I was more worried about the children. Um, you know, sooner or later, something was about to happen. I just didn't know that, what I'm saying, it was going to go to the extreme.
Mm.
Um, but like I said, my main thing was how would my kids look at it?
Yeah.
How would they take it? I remember that day of the funeral, just sitting up against the wall and watching all three of them, all four of them really. I can tell that it was affecting the two oldest ones. Drew really, like, he wasn't all there. Like, I wouldn't say he wasn't all there, but it was just like he didn't really understand.
Yeah, I didn't understand. Yeah.
Carlos still too young.
Mm-hmm.
He'd come up to me and he'd climb up on me and then he'll point. And I knew that he wanted to go see her. So I kind of stopped myself and I said, should I or should I not? But then I was like, he's gonna be crying. He's gonna want to go.
Yeah.
So, I went up there and, and I had my conversation with her and everything. And, in that conversation that I was having, I was just building up anger. I was like, man, like, my kids. That was my main thing right there. I take responsibility in that too, because I was like, man, I failed too at that. That sucks. Being, allowing certain things, and that's one of those deals as a man that, we can either make the right choice or we can make the wrong choice. We can allow things, to come into our house, and
Mm-hmm.
some of it is good and some of it is bad, And once you allow that to, come into your house, what I'm saying, you better hope you have Jesus Christ on your side, because if not, then the devil is going to reign. The devil is going to come in, sweep, clean, boom,
Yeah.
and do his thing. But I think during that time period too, a lot of questions ran through my head, like, what do we do from here? How are the kids taking this? How much do they know?
Mm-hmm.
All that type of stuff. Those type of questions. And, I worried about stuff like that. But I think on the way to the cemetery, like, I got confirmation. Like God was just like, you're like, boy, stop with all the questions. Stop with all that. Like, he told me straight up, like, I got you. Like, before you know it, this will be history. This will be a thing of the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of hard at first to accept it, because, I'm like, man, as humans, we're saying we want answers.
Yeah.
But just imagine, if we got those answers, do you think we'd actually do what, I'm saying? We do those things if we got the answers? Or would we try to fix it and do other things?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good question that popped up in my head the other day, or somebody else brought it up too, and I was like, that's right. You know what I'm saying? We don't understand these things, but God understands these things. If God was to give us a cheat book or something like that, do you think we'd actually do those things?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Would we actually step into those things?
Yeah.
If we knew we was going to go through those things. You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah. Man.
But yeah.
Mm. Well, you kind of fast forward to where you're at now. You got in church. You got your kids in church. grown. I remember when they first came to expand, quiet. Carlos was quiet. Oh yeah, no, yeah, Carlos was still kind of quiet. Actually getting to know him now, and it's like, man,
Do y'all ever be quiet?
this. No, I love your kids, man. I love when they're around the house. Every single one of them, just to watch them grow, watch them come out of their shell, and just, man, like I said, it just watching them grow has just blessed me, and I know it's blessed our family too. Ebony and Skyra, they love having y'all over there. Of course, Phoenix loves having you over there. But man, it's
As it was in that time period, that training, all that training that God gave me from the time that she passed away, little bit by little bit, watching every step, going to counseling, dealing with the courts, what they were asking of me, going to Las Cruces to go get evaluated and taking drug tests and all that stuff, just teaching me all these things. And then getting to understand what it's going to require of me and where I need to really put my focus and my strength at. And just being involved in church and being involved like in little groups, like men groups, helped a lot to somewhat put it all together. Because, what I'm saying, in the beginning, when you're putting it together, it doesn't look like it's something. But once, what I'm saying, once you put it together, and then it's the process of it working.
Yeah.
It takes, you got to work the kinks out of it and stuff like that. And I think that was the first couple of years that, being here in Seminole, how it was, because I had to restructure everything. I had to restructure their thinking to where they understand, okay, I'm dad. This is how this is going. Let's start from here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play around with you. This ain't grandma's house. We don't do things like that. And basically, what I'm saying, I had to understand that I had to structure them. I had to give them structure. Because if I didn't give them that, then what was the purpose of me even taking them away from Hobbs? And I think that was one of the biggest plus, one of my biggest wins is putting structure. And yeah, they're quiet. They were quiet in the beginning. And now, it's like, oh man, like for real, you get cocky? You're cocky? Like for real. And I see that. I'm like, I know where you get it from, but I'm not even going to get cocky with it. I'm just going to let that be. I'm going to humble myself, and shake that off. But yeah, that was very important.
Yeah.
Just to see that training that God was preparing me for, or putting it out there in front of me, not being afraid of it. It's at first it seemed hard. Believe me, it seemed hard because there was times, being by myself and dealing with, all types of things. You've had people on here, dealing with certain things like, mental depression and stuff like that. I can relate to that type of stuff. It was driving me bats, just like sitting in a room just by myself at night, just like, man, I feel empty. I feel very empty. Like, I contemplated so many things, so many thoughts, and I was like, man, for real, when was, it's like torture. But basically, I was torturing myself because of my emotions. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Man.
Believe me, dealing with the courts and how they process things and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Learning from them helped me a lot too. Um, there was times where I go visit my lawyer. I visit her practically almost like 3 times a week. I would bug her like crazy, like, why are you not doing things for me? Why is this not happening? Because, you know what I'm saying, they would always try to delay, or they'll try to make an excuse of, so many things. And, I understood her. And I'm grateful to her because she taught me a lot, you know what I'm saying, just by, the things that she did. I wasn't very, high on vocabulary until I met her. Like, I seriously was not high on vocabulary. She kept saying this word that just made me mad. She used to say, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. And I was like, what does that even mean? Like, I was like, what are you saying? It's irrelevant. I didn't even know the word. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't focus on vocabulary. And, I was like, nah, I stick to my slang kind of deal. Like, I know these words, understand my words. You're not getting nothing done. That's how I was telling her. But she kept saying it's irrelevant. It don't matter. And then I think one of the days I was at the house, to myself, and I was just fed up and tired, and I was like, man, there's nothing. And dealing with everything too. Something ignited in me. I started teaching myself a lot of things, like, going through war strategy type of deals, stuff like that, World War II, Vietnam War, Korean War, Desert Storm,
Why? Because it's almost out
of juice.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But you're talking about war.
Yeah.
Why? What made you want to get into studying about war?
Because I was dealing with a spiritual war. I was dealing with a physical war. I was dealing with, a mental war. I was dealing with all kinds of wars that, I had no strategy to.
Yeah.
I was dealing with things that just overwhelmed me. And I invested my time into reading court documents, reading the words that they were saying on the court documents. I invested my time in watching videos, of past wars, commanders that, that strategize on stuff like that. How, especially say, Desert Storm. They learned from Vietnam how to attack, because in Vietnam they lost so many people. Basically, it was like, yeah, we won the war, but we didn't win it like we were supposed to. So when we went into Desert Storm, the things that they learned in Vietnam, they applied them in Desert Storm. And how long did that war last? Didn't last long. So basically, I was just gathering up information, little keywords to make me understand, and just flip them. Just use them at what I was doing, dealing with courts. How do we strategize? How do we make the power move? How do we go about this?
Yeah.
How do I get smarter at this game? Because basically, I was stepping into a playing field that I had no knowledge of. You know how some people will tell you, yeah, you go to court and you tell them all you want. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I learned that real quick. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the courts, they don't care about your emotions. They don't care about none of that stuff. They care about what you can provide on paper. Proof. That's all they care about. They care about what kind of tests are being run. They care about that kind of stuff. I learned those things. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I learned their terminology, how they pronounce certain things and what they mean.
Yeah.
And to this day, there's certain things that I have to go back and I got to double check. What do you really mean by that? At the state level, what do you mean by stuff like that?
Mm.
What is it in the law? How is it, how is it used?
Yeah.
Because little simple words, can add time to you or can give you something that you've asked for.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how that works. So I learned that too. So, but it was, like I said, it happened in that time period when, when everything just came. And it was like, it's too much for me to bear. And it was like, God consistently said, I got you. I'm preparing you. I'm getting you there.
Mm.
Be patient. Understand that. But yeah.
Heck yeah, bro. That's what's up, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. It's real good. Because I know talking to you, I've never heard the full story. Like your full testimony. I know I've heard bits and pieces, but I've never actually heard all of it. And man, for you to share it, I love it. Like I love hearing stories like that, testimonies.
I mean, I try to just give it, try to give bits of it because, if I gave you the full story, I'd have to give it to you, not the lifetime version. I have to give it to you, the IMAX version. The intense. I gotta give you the whole thing. I gotta give it to you where, where you understand the emotion, the feeling, the understanding of it. The outcome, the aftermath of it. That way you can really say, oh, snap.
Yeah.
Like, wow. But giving you bits of it, it's like, okay, cool. You can take that and say, oh, okay, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
He's dealing with something. He's dealt with something, or he's gone through something. And I think that, what you're doing, having this platform for people to, share testimony, it's great. It helps people because there's people out there that, that might not have dealt with so many things, but have dealt with certain things.
Oh, yeah.
And have not learned how to address those things or where to get the right tools.
Mm-hmm.
I think on your when you had Kyle on here, some of the things that he was saying, it touched me. Like, wow, it's true. It's the things that happen. Like, say for instance, we as parents, we got to be careful what we do.
Yeah. Because
if our kids see that things or the things that we say are passed on to them, and it's just a cycle that continues and continues and continues
mm-hmm.
until somebody addresses it, until somebody fixes it, and until somebody has the proper knowledge. And like I've mentioned before, Jesus is everything. Jesus is everything, no matter what. I mean, when it comes to finances, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to any type of relationship, work relationship, anything, he fills up that void that that most people feel like they're empty with. No human on this planet can fill that void.
Mm-hmm.
Just Jesus. And I've tested that theory. I was like, bro, like I'm on a whole nother level with that. Like when you live like that, when you think like that, it's like you're not empty. Mm-hmm. You're full. You know what I'm saying? He's pouring into you like on a daily, hourly, momently, all that. Just pouring into you, and you either take it or you don't take it. You receive that. But yeah, just listening to Kyle, speak on stuff like that, and hearing some of the other people and their testimonies and the things that they went through,
mm-hmm.
And seeing where they're at, from the time period that that it began to the time period that they're in now to the present time period. How much have they grown?
Oh, yeah.
What did they learn? Are the habits that were introduced into their lives, are they replaying those habits?
Mm.
Are they passing them along to the next generation? And I think once we become responsible and and aware of those things, I think we either make that choice to make better or continue.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I gotta give it to you. You give this platform for people to come and share testimony, because somebody out there might need it. Somebody
Oh,
out
yeah.
there might want those answers. And some people might be scared, or because they might know my business.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. People have been doing that type of stuff since before Christ. They will continue doing it and continue doing it, and it's one of those deals, like, when you've come to Christ and you're not ashamed or anything, you've asked Him, for forgiveness for past events or the sins that you committed and stuff like that. Can't nobody hold a candle to you.
Yeah.
Nobody can, hold that above your head. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That shows the intent of other people. You know what I'm saying? Their true nature, their true character.
Yep.
Because in reality, when this is all said and done, we all have to go to the same place, and He's gonna make one way or another way that you're gonna have to go down. So who's playing who? You know what I'm saying? Who's playing who?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I know some people might be scared, like you said, just because of the fact of, I don't want nobody knowing my past. But to me, it's like, man, it's a testimony, and like your testimony can literally save somebody's life.
Right.
That's how powerful it is. And for people to say, well, I don't think I have a testimony, man, everybody's got a testimony. Everybody's got a testimony. So I try to encourage people to come on here. Sometimes it is kind of hard to, because you don't, in which I'm not going to make you say anything you don't want to say. This is your testimony, so you can tell it however you want to. And everybody I've talked to, they do an awesome job at saying it, and so I applaud you for coming on here. And I know you said, I need to think about it, but I kind of already knew you were going to say it anyway. You were going to be on here anyway, is what I meant. But
yeah, I think your mom wanted me on here from get-go, from a long time ago.
But it's just, man, because just like you said, people like to judge by your looks, by the cover.
Right.
They don't know your full testimony. They don't know who you really are. So now that they've heard this, I guarantee you, like, I'm not saying that everybody's like that, but there are people who are like that, and they're like, oh man, I didn't know all this about this dude. Dang. Now they might feel convicted or something, but it's not to make you anything like that. It's just like, man, there's just power in your testimony.
Yeah. Well, with my testimony, I learned a long time ago too that if you're real about it and not ashamed of it, and you take responsibility in it, like I said, nobody can hold that against you.
Mm-hmm.
God will not allow that to, for that evil to hinder you or to overwhelm your presence. He will destroy that. He will be like, poof. Mm-hmm. What are you doing here? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Who put you judge? Poof. You know what I'm saying? That type of deal. But like I said, you live, you learn, and you try to, help, or try to rebuild or try to do a new thing that helps to not, continuously do what, you know what I'm saying, the bad that's in this world already. So, and like I said, you know, just listening to Kyle, you know, from a child, you know what I'm saying, there, you know, that's where he got it from. And
Yeah.
he had to work at that, you know, and I admire that, you know, he put that out there because I'm like, bro, I felt the same way too. I did the same nonsense too. Like, wow.
Yeah. But no, man, I'm glad you're on here. I'm glad you're encouraging. You know, I don't get a whole lot of feedback, but as long as you do, that's all that matters. I know my wife always says, like, as long as it's one, as long as you're reaching one person, that's it. Like that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, because that one person might be dealing with something.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's, man, proud of you for coming on here. You know, and it's not. I know, it's not just our church. Like, I don't want just people from our church on here. Man, whether you're saved or not, you have a testimony.
Right.
Doesn't matter what church you go to, honestly. I do need more women on here. I have a whole lot of guys that I've had on here. That's something that I am looking for is I need more women for sure. I want more girls on here because, man, I know you have a testimony. I know you've gone, like, people have gone through stuff. Like, don't be afraid. It's a testimony, guys. Like,
well, I'll tell you this. If you do decide to bring women on here, a lot more, you're going to need a lot more of these because they're going to get into it. But, yeah, you are right. Not just men need to testify, but women need to testify too because they're a big part in this. You know what I'm saying? They have to express, you know what I'm saying, you know, from their view, from their understanding and the things that they dealt with, you know. And I'm not saying that, you know, it's all of it is good and all of it's bad, but you know where they're at, like I said, you know, when they began to where they're at now, you know what I'm saying, what did you learn?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what did you do to, you know, to change that, you know?
Yeah.
How do you see things now? The growth, you know, do you see yourself differently in a couple years or no? But yeah, women, I think women should voice and say what they need to say. They have a voice. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, and this kind of started how it started with Kyle's. Just pretty much went straight into it. Didn't introduce you at the very beginning. It was more of, hey, let's just go. Which man, I'm game for that too. You know that.
Yeah, I sensed that. I was like, oh, we was already in the mix. I was like, wow. Let's just do it.
There we go. This is Emilio Aguilar. Man, I've known him for a while already. He's pretty much, if he's not at home or at work, he's at my house. Of course, my son is like this Uncle Millie for sure to my kid. Is Uncle Millie. But man, an amazing guy, man. I love this dude for sure, man. He's a brother in my life. His kids, amazing. Man, they're something else though. They're fun to be around. I love them. I love when they're at the house and just they're all very competitive for sure. I know they get that from you. All very competitive. But it's just fun being around the family, being around all y'all. You know, I love it. I love it, man. And I appreciate you coming on here. I appreciate you, bro. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you and say social media, how can they do that?
Don't get a hold of me. I talk too much trash. But I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I don't have no Twitter. And I do have Snapchat, but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I do most of my dirt on Facebook. But I do talk trash. I'm into sports. I talk, you know, trash about Cowboy fans and how they think, and you know, I am a Raider fan, and I love football. Not into basketball no more, but if we ever did decide, you know, to bring up the topic, who's the GOAT, you know, it's MJ all the way, you know, He's a killer. You know. Other than that, that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm very political too, so you know what I'm saying. Um, I got into politics a while back, and I love politics. You know what I'm saying. I love how this works. You know what I'm saying. The laws that they put in place. You know what I'm saying, under your nose if you're not really reading it. You know what I'm saying. What are you really trying to do there? So be aware of stuff like that. But yeah.
But also, guys, give him feedback. Let him know what you thought of the podcast for sure. To me, that means more than anything is you giving him the feedback. Like I said, I don't really get a whole lot, and that's not what matters, man. What matters is me putting your testimony out. That's it. I want to put your testimony out there. I want people to know, how powerful it is, and guarantee you it'll change lives. It'll change lives.
Yeah, and one of the things is that there's people out there. If you're dealing with something, find those people. Seek the knowledge that you need to seek. Invest your time in reading and going through other people's testimonies. And that way, what I'm saying, it'll reveal something to you. And God has an amazing way of revealing information to you, and you not know how to receive it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? He can do it just, he did it through a donkey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he can do it through anything. You just gotta open up your heart, your mind, and have these things working. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So, but I highly encourage a lot of people, whether you're a man or a woman, to actually, if you feel the urge of coming up here and asking Jeremy, I want to share my testimony, do it. Do
Yes.
it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Yes. Appreciate that, man. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, at No Holds. Of course, if you're looking for No Holds, just look for the logo here, and it's not that hard to find. And then also on, for sure, Facebook, Instagram, you can find me on there, Jeremy S. Duran. I am on Anchor. I am on Spotify. I am on the Apple, iTunes. YouTube. Find me on YouTube. It's No Holds. Just find the logo right there. I guarantee it's not hard to find. But appreciate you guys, the ones that support me, the ones that encourage me, keep pushing me. And until next time, man, we are out. Peace.